So moving on from that, and I guess staying on Arsenal, just want us to touch very quickly on the Bukayo Saka contract situation. Rumor has it's pretty much done and dusted. I don't think anyone has ever in doubt that he was going to leave Arsenal, you know. He seems like someone who loves the club very much, and obviously we all know his story came through the youth ranks and all of those things. And despite rumors that, you know, I heard Man City were keeping a close eye on him and all of those things. Gone are the days, Man City, where you guys come and take our guys, take the cliches and whatever else. You know, I'm very happy. In fact, we are now coming to take their players. So I'm very happy that Arsenal is able to keep such a huge talent. So just to be on the cynical side, just a little bit, the numbers that I'm hearing are giving me a bit of PTSD because, you know, apparently this guy's been promised £300,000 a week contracts, which is eerily similar to the amounts given to Aubameyang and Mesut Ozil, and we know how their form basically plummeted after that. Now, obviously, I mean, it's different, I guess, context now because Saka is much younger than they are, and etc., all those things. So I just wanted to get your guys' view as far as how you feel about one, a 21-year-old being given such a big contract, all things considered, where Arsenal are in their development and their, I guess, resurgence as a competitive team. What does this mean? Will it have a knock-on effect? Now, with the other guys, I know Martinelli signed just recently, so maybe not him, but maybe the other guys will now look at, yo, Saka's getting paid this much. Will it create an issue within the squad? All of those things. So, Kams, I'm just going to start with you on this one.
I'm glad you started with me. I had so much going on in my head, right? Because, I mean, initially, when I read the contract, well, the alleged figure they're going to pay him, I was like, yo, for a 21-year-old. But as I eased through my day, right, I started thinking about it. And I said, you know what? There's so many good things, so many good points with this entire thing of Saka getting a new contract. Number one, I'd like to give a shout out to Edu and the Arsenal hierarchy for actually tying a player to a contract, because that has been Arsenal's worst nightmare for years. Edu inherited a problem where Arsenal could not hold down their star players to a new contract. And this time around, what a perfect moment to actually do it. Doing it when the club is number one. So that means you are actually motivating the players to say, go for it, guys. Go for the whole title. I mean, one, they managed to tie up possibly the next R9. Well, maybe that's the push, but the next R9 from the world of Brazil in Martinelli. I mean, Martinelli's getting 180K a week. And I mean, considering this is a kid who came to Arsenal on a 2,500 pounds a week contract, a year later he gets 20,000, a year later he gets 40,000, and now he's on 180. Crazy. That shows also the players, this team actually appreciates our efforts. And now you're making the players want to give it their all. And I'm even talking about the fringe players. The fringe players now are looking at this whole situation and they're going, wait a minute. If I perform, I can actually get the money. All I have to do is perform. And knowing Arteta gives you a chance. It may be 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. But if you're a great player, in 5 minutes, you can show what you're made of. So I think that's where the mindset is, hopefully. That's one. Two, it's about damn time, man, that black players earn that much. I mean, Yaya Toure at his peak did not even hit 230, bro. Yaya Toure. Do you understand what that means?
The greatest for me, Premier League midfielder, but that's a topic for another day.
Bro, playing for the richest team in the Premier League. Playing for the richest team in the Premier League, for people with the money, bro. They didn't appreciate him. So for me to see Arsenal giving a 21-year-old black kid from London from the academy, bro. That figure is getting kids in the academy right now going, shit, I need to make it to the first team. Like, if you don't get inspired by that, then I don't know what's the issue with you. Then you need to leave the club. You don't belong to the club. In fact, you don't even belong to the league, because I believe even at Man United for table, the kids at Man United are going, snap. All I have to do is fucking perform. This kid is performing week in, week out. He plays for England, completely different team. He's performing as well, guys. So, like, we need to put it into context. And this is the same kid who started at left back. At left back, just like Gareth Bale, if you remember. Moved into a position, performed at the same position. A kid who puts his head down, a kid who's humble. You know, God's son. God's son. He's God's son, that kid. Puts his head down, humble, comes from humble. Yeah, star boy comes from humble beginnings. The English squad embrace him. I mean, I was listening to some interview with the English players about Jack Grealish, James Maddison, and they were saying, if I had a younger sister, I would let Saka date my younger sister, because he's that nice, he's that humble, he's that, like, well-mannered. But also, shout out to Saka's parents, man. They've done an amazing job with him. Let's also be honest. He has had amazing support from his dad and mom, and I think it's about time that narrative changed. And I'm glad that it's changing. Cool. Getting into the cynical part of it. That 300K is an alleged figure, apparently. So someone was actually saying that the media needs to stop doing this, especially to Black English players. Apparently, it happens a lot to Black English players, where when there's contract negotiations or renewal, the media inflates the amount, and the whole aim is for the kid to get abused on social media, etc., all of that. Because apparently they also did it with Raheem Sterling, and it actually did affect him. So apparently he's actually getting a base figure of 200K. The real figures are he's getting a base figure of 200K and possibly 100,000 with bonuses. But how the media projects it or actually puts it out there for us is that he's getting 300K a week, you know? So I just hate how the media twists things. But also, why shouldn't he? Because if Arsenal don't give him that 300K a week, Bayern Munich will be willing to give him that 200K. Man United will be willing to give him that. Even Real Madrid, because he's gotten to that point where he's recognized by the world football of it. So if we don't give him the money, he will leave. It's not like he didn't have options. He definitely had options, but he wanted Arsenal. And I am glad Arsenal paid the money. It's about damn time. Not for players who are 39. You know, Abu. Give the guy the money. They gave Martinelli the money he deserves. He's performing. Like, after Martinelli signed the contract, he still was consistent. Yes, the form dipped a bit, but he started coming back. So for me, right now, we're going to see who Saka is. We know who Martinelli is, because I didn't say money reveals who you are. We're going to see who Saka is. I want to see his form, if it's consistent. That's all. But I am glad. And also, we're just waiting for Saliba again.
Yeah, he's next. He's next, which is what so, Nkulego, maybe, I mean, obviously you'll give your overall opinion as well, but if you can just start on the point of what can be the domino or the knock-on effects of giving such a young player this alleged high figure. So Jones made the point about Saliba. Do you think Saliba now looks at this and goes, yeah, they're giving this guy 300K, maybe I can now try and hold out for a similar amount? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, before I chime in on that, I don't know if it comes or some Arsenal fan once mentioned that there's an inherent risk in Arsenal's team based on the age setup and, you know, the contract situations of the players they have at present, is that they run the risk of losing their promising players to elite clubs because of what they're actually worth in the current market of football. We know the likes of PSG, what they've paid was this guy Mbappe. Mbappe has been on those astronomical figures before he was Saka's age. Even before he proved himself, he was already on those astronomical, you know, amounts. We know Bayern Munich are willing to. So, in essence, Arsenal have that inherent risk that they have to like revamp their wage structure, which is gonna be a challenge for them sustainably going forward. It's sort of like a rock and a hard place that they have to incentivize these guys because Arsenal actually pushed ahead of where I think they succeeded way too early according to their plans. I don't think Arsenal expected to be so great so soon with these many young players. Like Saliba wasn't planned to be this good. Martinelli wasn't planned for him to be this good. Saka as well to be this great, it wasn't planned. It was like a plan was this team to be it's challenging for top four. Then you can incrementally, pay, reasonably. Like it's here and there that Saka deserves such a job, but to the domino effect sign that you question that you're asking, it is that you're gonna create it because these guys are actually there's teams that are keeping their eye on that. How many of these guys? Because trust me, the likes of Odegaard. Tell me how much is Odegaard on? Odegaard deserves to be like all things considered. He's the captain. He's been the driving force. He also deserves to earn more than Saka. If he's below Saka, it's questionable. He's more experienced, and he's been the driving force. So can you see the domino effect that it can create or will create that these players can be hunted by more elite teams because Arsenal, for them to keep these players, need to sustain, the level that they are. Because it's kind of like City. Remember when City started, they had to pay these guys like big salaries for a long period of time. And then once they were able to win 2-3 leagues, City all of a sudden have a bargaining power on them, like salaries. Their highest paid player, I don't think it's De Bruyne. I don't think is over 400K. Correct me if I'm wrong. So
yeah, I think
it is gonna, to summarize it is a domino effect that it's gonna create, unfortunately, that if they want to remain competitive, they need to start playing these guys and rewarding them, and it's gonna affect the attracting of elite players in the market because eventually to maintain where you are, you need to go get elite ready-made players, guys with like you've been lucky with Trossard and Jorginho, but I don't think those guys will sustain Arsenal beyond a certain level. So I agree with what Kamza was saying. Saka does deserve, based on president of the market, that elite performing players need to be rewarded, and it's problematic when with black players, it seems like it needs to be like justified and all of that, and I'm liking what it's creating. It's a perception that black players need to be rewarded. It's a standard now. We're not gonna question it anymore. That's the nice thing I like about this move, but it will create a domino effect for Arsenal, which I'll be worried about.
Yeah. Just before you go, right? You mentioned something that KDB gets 400K. Would KDB get 400K elsewhere? I think City knew this is their best player. And were they wrong for offering him 400K? No. He has consistently delivered. So for me, it's a win-win situation. If the player performs, you'll be what then? Back in the people don't want to talk about, people forget, like people have amnesia because this is happening at Arsenal. Back in the days, Rashford was given 100K. I think he was 19 or 20, 100K.
Rashford.
But he deserved it. But he deserved it at that time. Let's not even lie. He actually did. And then he performed, and then he was given 200K. Yes, he had injuries, but he deserved it. So, like, why must it be a big issue? Phil Foden went from 10,000 pounds to 100 and something thousand pounds, but no one spoke about it because he's white and he plays for City. But if it happens at Arsenal, because predominantly they know Arsenal as black players, they're going to be saying blah, 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 blah. Nah, bro. People deserve their money. We watch people because of them. So they deserve to be compensated.
Kudos. kudos to Arsenal for finally paying players what they deserve.
Dude, it's about time.
That's not mali. Kana sibane mali, man. It's not like we don't want to. But yeah. So on that note, I mean, I think it's unanimous amongst all of us that look, Saka has arguably been the best player in the Premier League this season. And I mean, I even go as far as to say, since he's broken into the first team, Saka has been Arsenal's best player for the last 3 years or so.
I agree.
So he definitely deserves a bumper contract. Yeah, I mean, of course, the whole point of the conversation is, we need to discuss these kinds of things rather than to be cynical for the sake of being cynical. But yeah, congrats to Saka. Moving along, let's speak about
but now
Sorry,
now we're gonna have the problem of Saliba go, I need 100,000 pounds.
Facts. More money, more problems. Did you was right.
Yep.